Hey guys, this is Eckhart Slaughter. Hello and welcome to another video today. And I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do a Bad Batch review episode or talk about some recent casting leaks that we've gotten about Star Wars television shows. So I decided I would do both. I'll combine them in this one video. If you want to skip around, you can use the bar down below. Because I've included it in the title, however, we are going to talk about the leaks first, and this will have some spoilers for upcoming Star Wars TV shows, but to be honest, it's not anything that anyone who's seen The Mandalorian Season 2 will in any way be surprised about. So let's get started. Today's leak comes from LRM Online. Now, you probably recognize them if you follow Star Wars leaks, and they are pretty reliable. I'd say one of the more reliable leakers, in fact, and what they've said today lines up with things that have been said by other people, which is why I'm talking about it now. LRM clearly does have some source within Lucasfilm because their big scoop at about this time last year was about the upcoming Star Wars TV shows. They reported correctly that starting in mid-2021, that Star Wars plans to have a show releasing every quarter, and that a Game of Thrones-like series of shows was planned for Disney+, and that of course was referring to The Mandalorian, and they also named the Ahsoka Show what they called an Ezra Bridger / Thrawn show, which I believe may be Ahsoka, or that may have been Rangers of the New Republic. And the Game of Thrones reference is not because of the tone of the show, but it was sort of a weird comparison to how Game of Thrones itself has all of these separate storylines which come together at certain points. Imagining if that, instead of being one show, was multiple shows. That was the analogy they were making. Anyway, going back to today, they had been teasing a big leak, and then they came out with the news that Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger have had their casting done and confirmed. Now, of course, a confirmation from a fan site will never be official confirmation, but let's at least look at what they said. According to LRM, Mena Massoud will be playing Ezra Bridger and Lars Mikkelsen will be playing Grand Admiral Thrawn. Both of these castings, by the way, make a lot of sense, and they fall in line with what certain Star Wars leakers have been reporting over the past 6 months or so. And I say it makes a lot of sense because it's just really good casting. The article points out that these have been popular fan casts for the two Star Wars characters for a long time, and that's true. If you look at Mena, he looks pretty much exactly like Ezra. He's also worked with Disney before, he was in the Aladdin movie, and I just think he's a really likable actor who could portray the character very, very well. Lars Mikkelsen makes a lot of sense because not only does he look like Grand Admiral Thrawn, but he also voiced him in Star Wars Rebels, so it's a really nice bit of continuity there. He already knows the character very, very well, obviously, and at this point between Katie Sackhoff and now Mikkelsen, I'm kind of wondering whether Star Wars casting directors are considering the look of the actors when hiring for the animated characters. I believe Katie Sackhoff maybe made a reference to Dave Filoni sort of joking about that, but these characters both work really, really well together, and that's something that I would like to see moving forward. If it's between two voice actors and one also fits the part physically, why not go with them? It's hard for me to describe why I think he looks so good as Thrawn. He's just got a sort of intelligent face to him. I know that's not really a great descriptor, but I think really it's the eyes and the sort of serious face. I think he's pretty much a perfect fit for the character, especially now that Thrawn will be a little bit older compared to Star Wars Rebels, a little bit grizzled. This will be probably about 10 years after Rebels, with The Mandalorian taking place in 9 ABY, so 9 years after the Battle of Yavin, and Rebels taking place before, of course, the Battle of Yavin. On a side note, I'm always asked who I would choose as my sort of fan casting for Thrawn, and I pretty much always give the same answer. I really love Mikkelsen as Thrawn, but if I had to go with somebody else, I would probably have chosen Paul Bettany. Of course, that's a little bit more difficult because he's already played a character in the Star Wars universe, but I think he also has a perfect face for maybe a younger Thrawn. Another weird one that I think I chose more because of personality rather than appearance was Charles Dance, but really he'd probably be better as just some Imperial officer generally. I really hope they get him into Star Wars at some point. Alright, so that's that. Those are pretty great casting choices. I really hope we do see not only the Ahsoka Show featuring Thrawn and Ezra, but there's also been pretty credible rumors of another show more about the two specifically taking place. Maybe it's before the event, it'll sort of be a bit of a flashback about their time in the unknown region. I think there's a really, really interesting story to be told there. Either way though, This seems right to me. These are great casting choices. I totally believe them. Of course, they won't be 100% confirmed until they are, but let me know what you think down in the comments. With that said though, I want to talk a bit about the most recent episode of The Bad Batch. I'm going to go into some spoilers, so click away if you haven't seen it, but to be honest, there's not really a whole lot to spoil for this episode, and that was one of the problems. I've been a huge fan of The Bad Batch throughout this entire season. It's been a great addition to my sort of weekly routine, looking forward to every episode, just like The Mandalorian, and you guys have also really been enjoying the content. The videos are routinely well viewed. Again, not as well as The Mandalorian, but there's definitely a lot of interest in there, especially for an animated show, and I've thought so far that Season 1 has been better than Seasons 1 of The Clone Wars, or maybe Star Wars Rebels as this season goes on though. I start to question that a little bit, but there is a bit of a problem, and this episode was disappointing for me. I think the first real episode that was disappointing, not because of the actual plot, but because of how the episode fit into the overall season. We've got 3 episodes left after this one today, and I'm now sort of wondering, what are they going to do with the rest of this season? They've told lots of really good arcs, but I need to see the season move somewhere overall, and I'm always one who defends what people call quote-unquote fluff episodes or filler episodes, but I think there's a time and a place, and at this point we need to see some character development. Something needs to happen. We've seen, of course, a little bit from the group. They're becoming less mercenaries, even though they were never really mercenaries for very long, and returning more to their soldier style. But I need more. I really need these last 3 episodes to come through, and as you get later on in a season, like, the time becomes a lot more precious, and I don't really know if an episode where kind of nothing happens, the basic plot is that they're helping Sid out. I don't really know about that. Sid's really not their friend. She's been screwing them over for some time. They're helping Sid out, and basically that's the story. They steal some spice from the Pike Syndicate. That was really cool to see, and the rest is basically a prolonged action sequence. It's a cool episode. Like, I enjoyed actually watching it, but it did feel a little bit skippable, and to me at this point in the season, that's a problem. So I really hope that they come through with the final 3 episodes. If they do, for me, this episode will be long forgotten. But as it stands, this was probably my least favorite episode of the series so far. It's still not bad, still not as bad as some of the worst of Season 1 of the Clone Wars, but not the greatest. Just my opinion though. This is the end of this combined video for today, though I don't really have much more to talk about. Maybe some more news for tomorrow, in which case I'll do a video on that. If not, we'll talk some Star Wars lore. Let me know if there's any topics you'd like to see me cover, any questions you'd like to see me answer down in the comments. Until next time though, guys, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.